The Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Pretty good sized crowd tonight. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Hold on. Sorry.
Can't hear you.
After all that, Dick, we're gonna have to probably go back through it because I didn't unmute.
I don't have audio either.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay, you missed the Pledge of Allegiance,
Led by Charlie Brown.
led by Charlie Brown.
Fine.
We do not have a motion to approve the agenda yet.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second it. Oh, go ahead. Somebody second it.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Citizens' comments and concerns, items not on the agenda. I'm going to ask, because of the size of the crowd especially, that everyone try to limit that to be as brief as possible.
You skipped one.
Oh,
You want to do that first?
I do. Thank you, thank you, Bob. Okay, so how about a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Mary Lee?
No, I'm fine.
Bob?
I just had one thing. It's just a clerical thing. Under citizen comments and concerns, second line down, it says, R. Coombs stated the only thing he can say is the town of Castleton and town of Hubbardton. You've got has there, has agreed. I think it should be have, well, maybe it does have to say has agreed.
I'm not an
that
English
right?
major, but I think you're right. It should be have agreed.
Have
It's
agreed?
past tense,
Okay,
I think.
that's the only thing I had on it.
Mark?
I'm good.
Rob?
I'm all set.
Okay, all right, I'm all set too. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll do citizens' comments, and we'll ask everyone to be as brief as they can. Yes, Katie, you gotta come to the podium and state your name, please.
And I have I saw your list and I knew you have a really packed schedule, so I'm ready to go. I'll be quick. Stay with me. I'll read fast. So my name is Katie Culpo. I live on Sand Hill Road. I speak tonight on behalf of the interested parties group involved in the Sand Hill Road project environmental court process and now our appeal officially today to the Vermont Supreme Court. We are here tonight to request an inquiry from our elected select board members into the October 2021 DRB height waiver approval. Here is why. As you are aware, in November 2022, the DRB approved the Sand Hill Road project minus the memory care. Knowing the developers were not interested in the project without the memory care, we as a group had absolutely no reason to appeal the DRB decision. However, once the developers appealed the DRB's decision to the Vermont Environmental Court, we as an interested party group sought legal counsel to be a part of the process. We wanted to, quote, have a seat at the table, as they say. It was not until the environmental court process when the developers submitted the February 2021 Castleton zoning ordinance as official evidence to the court that we realized there was something very wrong. We informed our legal counsel this must be a mistake. It is our understanding and our local DRB's understanding that there was a June 2021 Castleton zoning ordinance that specifically included the height waiver. The February 2021 version does not include a height waiver. In fact, it is clearly documented in Selectboard, Planning Commission, and DRB meeting minutes that the height waiver was left out of the February 2021 version and needed to be added into the June 2021 version for this specific project to actually receive DRB approval. To be clear, the developer submitted to the Vermont Environmental Court as evidence, and our town office confirmed that the official Castleton zoning ordinance was in fact the February 2021 document. When we realized the DRB erroneously approved a height waiver, we documented the issue in the environmental court process and requested summary judgment. Since the developers filed the appeal was limited to the specific issues they brought forward. But we believe the height issue should have been considered based on the developer's reference to the overall design of the proposed project. The environmental court did not agree and never evaluated whether the project complies with the February 2021 Castleton zoning ordinance height restrictions. However, we have filed a notice of appeal to the Vermont Supreme Court today to challenge the environmental court's decision on this issue as well as others. We submitted that appeal today. We are here tonight requesting our select board, the elected officials that oversee governance of our town, to explain how the DRB in October 2021 approved a height waiver for the Sand Hill Road project with a February 2021 zoning ordinance that did not actually include a height waiver. We realize that many of you were not select members at the time much of this happened, but the fact is it did happen, and the issue is now going to the Supreme Court of Vermont. Who is responsible for this? How did this happen? Our concern is that the DRB members at the time believe there existed a June 2021 version that included a height waiver. In fact, I have an email correspondence with a DRB member at the time was adamant that they approved the height waiver with a zoning ordinance that included a height waiver. But this version of the zoning regulations was not legitimate. That's why the February 2021 version was submitted to the environmental court. As you know, we are not in favor of the currently proposed building. It is gigantic and does not belong on Sand Hill Road. We would support a senior living facility that is right sized for our community and actually affordable for Castleton residents. Below, we provide the current monthly rates for Chestnut Place. Please note these are starting rates, not average or maximum rates. I'll let you read through those. Through the environmental court process, we came to understand that while the town and the interested parties group are willing to compromise and seek a solution, the developers are not. They simply want to plop the highly commercial design of their Berlin, Vermont building, which is directly next to a large Walmart and shopping mall and mere minutes away from a large hospital on Sand Hill Road, without any adjustments for the setting or medical resources in the area. We strongly encourage the select board to abandon the current Sand Hill Road project because of an erroneous DRB approval, maybe a purchase and sale agreement that expires, is not extended, or by some other means. The process of approval is contaminated, and the current developers are not willing to negotiate a project that fits our community. Let's start anew with an inclusive, transparent process. Finally, we would be happy to talk with a full board, some board, or even one board member about the matter. A conversation can't hurt. It might well help. At a minimum, we are seeking an explanation as to how a height waiver was approved with a zoning ordinance that does not include a height waiver. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. We look forward to your clarification on this issue in the future. Respectfully submitted by the interested parties group. We knew you had a full agenda. We just wanted to get it to you, but we would look forward to a conversation or some answers in the future. Thank you very much.
We'll be happy to do that, Katie, but you're right, we need to
Sort it out.
sort it out, and we're not prepared to discuss this at this point.
No, we didn't. We just wanted to get the information to you, but we need to figure out how this happened and who's responsible for it.
More than willing to have a conversation, and we will do so.
Great, thanks.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. I don't know you, so.
Melinda Quinn.
Please. And once you're up by the microphone, if you can say your name and
sure.
where you live.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can
I
you hear
can.
me?
I'm sure the recording can too now.
Okay. So my name is Melinda Quinn, and actually I live over by Winnick Road on Lake Bomazine.
Okay?
And I'm a member, I'm just going to read this so that I don't forget anything. I'm a member of the Lake Bomazine Environmental Alliance, and I know everyone is, I'm on the board of the Lake Bomazine Environmental Alliance. I know everyone is aware of the fact that DEC, the Department of Environmental Conservation, recently issued a formal denial to the permit request from the LBA to use Priscillacor herbicide in Lake Bomazine. And we'd like to thank the board for their past support on this issue, and we appreciate all the support the town has given the community on this effort. Unfortunately, it looks like a private citizen, Lindsay Waterhouse, who was formerly on the board of the LBA, has appealed the denial, and so many of us are listed on the person of notice from the Vermont Environmental Court, including the town of Castleton. So we just wanted to make it publicly aware of this and ask the town, or encourage the town to write a brief letter to the Vermont Environmental Court supporting DEC's denial of the LBA Priscillacor herbicide permit application.
I will say that I was aware, and Mike made the board aware of,
Okay.
that the appeal was made. And Mr. Brown wanted us to have a conversation about that, but it was not appropriate to put it on this agenda.
Right.
So we're going to put it on an agenda in the near future,
Okay.
and I'll have to find out what the board's pleasure is, but I personally would still want to maintain the same position I did last year, or
Oh,
2
that's
years
good.
ago, whenever that was.
Well, go ahead.
I do think, as you know, the board made their position clear on this at a previous time, and there's no reason to believe at this time that that's changed. So I don't anticipate that we're going to take a different.
However, Mark, we need to have it as an agenda item before we make that decision as a board.
Sure.
Okay, well, that's great. So you'll let us know, or we'll know when it's coming up on this.
What I
subject.
don't know, and maybe you can help us, is what the chronology or the time frame is for this appeal process, or maybe.
Can I
Rob,
speak
you-
as a citizen and not on the select board since I'm
Sure.
the chair? We're not gonna have another meeting before it needs to be entered into the environmental court. The 21 days notice will be up before we have another select board meeting.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what the chronology was.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking, I don't think that we would need to put this on an agenda unless someone on the select board requested that because they wanted to change the direction that we had been in. The board made a decision and took a stand on it. So I think that it would be appropriate for us to just reaffirm that we have not changed that position since no one on the board has asked to do it.
So would you be willing to make a motion to reaffirm that and ask the town manager to create a letter that I can sign?
I would, yes. So
Do that, please.
I would like to make a motion that the board writes a letter to the Supreme Court reaffirming our stance on adding Procelicor to Lake Bomosing.
I'll second that, but for more discussion, Mr.
We
Chairman.
we want to have discussion on the board first before we open it up to the audience. So it's been moved and seconded, right?
Okay, but I don't think.
You wait a moment, ma'am. We'll be happy to let you speak, but any more discussion from the board?
No, but I won't vote on it until we have,
We're going to.
okay.
I just want to make sure
I
that
just
the
didn't want
members,
the gavel to come down here.
members of the board have to have an opportunity to speak before the public does. So is there any discussion from the board?
I think it would have to be worded different to the environmental court, not the Supreme Court.
I'm
It
sorry?
goes to the environmental
Oh,
court.
I'm
not the
sorry, I
Supreme
did say
Court.
Supreme Court. Okay.
So you can amend your motion.
I'll amend the motion to write a letter to the environmental court reaffirming our position on the application of Procelicor in Lake Bomosing.
I'll still second it.
Okay, it's been
It
moved
would
and
be to
seconded.
the Vermont Superior Court Environmental Division.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the board?
Reaffirm.
Okay, any discussion from the public now? Yes, ma'am. I hate to be rude earlier, but there's a process we have to go through.
I know, I just wanted not to have it wrong in the minutes.
I agree, we need to do it
Because
right.
it is, like, those are the technicalities that we would get thrown out.
Can I have your name,
So,
please?
Joanne Calvi, I live at 2633 Route 30 North Bomosine, right up the road. So it is it's like, in this process, it's like nothing ever happened. The board that will hear this, the whole process again, they don't know, or they don't count that the Castleton or Fairhaven or Hubbardton boards, they start all over again. So it has to be by the letter, it has to be within the time period, and it has to be done correctly. It's not going to be a difficult thing. Once you're recognized, you can just submit a letter or just say, we voted on this in however way. I would say what I gave Mark right here is there's a telephone number there. I would advise, there's somebody there to advise us of what is the easiest route to be able to be recognized as a valid organization to be able to speak to this, this new appeal from Lindsay. So I don't know if you have that in your, I think you can vote, But as far as how to get it on the words correct, the person that works for this court will help you. So for us as an individual, when we did it, and I don't know if it's different for a municipality, so there's somebody there, I've called her twice already, and you get to talk to a person, and she'll tell you and go right to what form you need to fill out and that kind of thing. For an individual, it was like just one piece of paper, and I think you were informed from Lindsay, like what the case number is
Can I
and
cut
what
you
the
off?
title is.
The mechanics of how to do this, we will work out.
Okay, great.
So,
Yeah.
all I need right now is if you have more fact that you need to enter into discussion.
No,
before we vote on
that
this.
was it. It was just, like,
All right.
it's just, I'm hoping, it's not difficult, but I just want us to have the right form so that
Okay.
we will be able to be
All right, then I'm
included.
gonna ask right now, is there any more public discussion on this? Any more board discussion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Recuse.
So, Mark, would you volunteer to collaborate with the town manager to write this letter?
I would.
I thought you would. Thank you.
Yep. We'll get it done tomorrow.
Thank you. Anything else for citizens?
Excuse me, Dick,
Yes, Allison.
we're recused.
Rob Steele. I'll get
Thank
your
you.
name right someday.
Bob.
Rob.
Mary Jogi has her hand raised on Zoom.
Mary?
Hello.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Mary.
Thank you. I have my usual question, which is, can you tell us any update on the status of the Castleton Village School still being listed for sale, or what's going on with the latest going on with Hubbardton? Thank you.
Well, we'll answer the second part first. We have closed today with Hubbardton School, and that we have purchased their 11%. That deal is done.
Excellent.
We are going to be paying for that out of next year's budget, and they've agreed to that. So they will get a check we'll approve the payment on
8 July.
8 July. And but Hubbardton now is out of that, so if we make a decision on the village school, it's this board that makes that decision, not a board of 10. Second, as far as I know, unless Mike can correct me, no one has come and kicked the tires on that in quite some time. So there's absolutely no interest in purchasing the building with the possible exception of Zach Hale. And there's been no motion on that, and Mike's reached out to Zach several times and not gotten any response. So that's not moving forward at this point. That's all I got for you, Mary. Is that everything you need?
Yes, I just wanted an update. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Anyone else? Citizens' concerns? Can you come up, Charlie, please? I don't know if Zoom can hear you. Allison, can you hear Charlie Brown?
Yes, I can.
Okay, go ahead, Charlie.
So now that the deal is done with Hubbardton, even though they haven't been paid, wouldn't it be wise that you would check the waters again to see if anybody's interested in it? Because everybody, they've heard so many stories for the last 7, 8 months, 10 months. Wouldn't it be wise to see if anybody else is interested in it before you go making any large decisions?
Well, there's been no decisions made, but I'll be happy to talk to the town manager and we'll re-explore that, Charlie. It's not a bad suggestion. It is one less complication in the way now. I will agree with that. Anything else? Anyone else? Mary? Please.
Mary McIntyre. Just an update. I came to you a couple weeks ago and told you a couple things about what the Friends of Rec were doing. We are ready to kick off our very first fundraiser, which is this weekend. Friday night is Paint and Sip. A lot of interest. So far, we've got 23 people signed up, considering we threw that together in like 3 weeks because you got to get your feet wet with a fundraiser. So we've done that. We had a lot of people, and John will tell you more about how the field improvement is going, but we've got citizens coming out and working hard on all the fields along with John. And I want to commend our our citizens for doing that. Although I did hear, unfortunately, this weekend that one of the coaches went down and saw a bunch of college kids down at Dewey Field with a great deal of alcohol, and conversation ensued, and they did leave, fortunately. But it would just be a shame to see everybody's hard work getting ruined. So that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, and one other update, the Castleton Elementary School field that was brought up, and there is going to be, that is the Jimmy Casey field, and the Jimmy Casey field sign was rotten and needs to be replaced, and the Castleton Lions Club is going to replace that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the
Thanks,
Castleton
Mary.
residents. I have no idea how many there are, but I thank them all for their help on this. Anyone else?
Yep.
Scott?
Hey, Castleton Tree Warden, Scott. So I've been on vacation for about 20 days. Come back, and I have a, so you may have to give me a minute, because Mike will tell you, me and this isn't very good. This is the picture that I got on Main Street of trimming of trees. So I just want to make it very clear that before I left on vacation, I had informed Raylands that we were going to have a man lift. It isn't here yet. And I was going to be gone for 20 days. I told them that I wouldn't cut all of the branches because they were in the power line. I did get a hold of Green Mountain. That's not in time to be cut for another year, that tree, or Main Street in the power lines. Didn't matter. They're gonna cut it anyways. So I'm here showing you, the concern. Green Mountain's point is if they cut it, it goes in the power line, blows the transformer, it's their responsibility. The other thing I want to make clear is there's no cones, no signs, and this machine is in the road. This incident, I don't think it's in the traveling of the road, but I have seen it go all the way down to Morton Building and go up over the highway to another residence. Maybe Peter might be interested in that. I don't know if those are registered for the road, but the ones that I've ever run weren't. So I just wanted to come to everybody's attention.
Whose is it?
Right.
That's his machine. Thank you.
Everybody see the picture?
Yeah.
So,
It's a nice machine. I wish I had one sometimes.
okay.
Thank you,
I
Scott.
mean, there's, I know somebody else is here that sent me the picture.
Well, I'll have a conversation with the town manager tomorrow about this.
Well,
and we'll see.
I'm not trying to, put this on you, but I'm just getting home and I haven't been in to see Mike or Jeff, but I just thought it'd be interesting if everybody saw that picture.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
And this chair needs some serious oil.
There's several of those around here that do.
That's why it's over there.
But
Almost over backwards now.
I will say the price was right, Scott. Anybody else for citizens' concerns? Seeing none, we're going to move on. Recreation update, Mr. Alexander.
Yeah, you had a schedule.
Good afternoon, folks. So, I was informed earlier, well, actually yesterday, I think, that there is some desire from the board to be able to have a little bit of a different format for the update, whether it's monthly or quarterly or whatever, on the recreation programs, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I don't see any value in the form. I said that several months ago that I'm presently submitting. That was something that predated my coming on board. I'd much rather have some form of an actual conversation with the board about ongoing programs, incorporating revenues and expenses and whatnot. But anyway, we are in as I stated last month, we're in that transition period right now between winter and spring sports. We've been working regularly on the fields to be able to try to bring them up to playable form. Tomorrow, our first game for the season for our softball program will be May 16th up at the elementary school. And today I had some material from Hattika's delivered to be able to resurface that field. I understand the Lions Club is going to fund the new sign for the field, and there is some repairs that need to be done on the field in terms of the dugouts, and I'll be communicating with Mark Cassidy and see if we can arrange for the Friends of Rec to add that to a project list, a little paint. And other than that, everything seems to be pretty copacetic at the elementary school. But our season for the softball, girls softball, does start this Thursday, the 16th. And we were able to reutilize some of the leftover uniforms from when the village school went into a season with the Orwell Village School in 2019. They bought new uniforms, and so we had those. I had those re-screen printed over at Mitchell's. It was very cost effective, and the uniforms themselves are like $50 a piece to replace, and they were able to re-screen print them for $5.50 a piece. So the kids normally just have a T-shirt that they wear that we make for them, but this year Castleton will have uniforms to wear. So some of them are a little bit big because of the age range with that softball team is grade 3 through 6. So you can have a really small kid that would fit in a very small jersey all the way up to an adult-sized kid. So, but they should look good. And the field should be looking pretty good. We did have we've had numerous work days on the fields with volunteers, either myself and Lee Jameson and the Friends of Rec. The Friends of Rec was actually a week ago, Saturday. They showed up and revitalized a lot of the T-ball field. And since that time, I've recut the sod on that field and put down new infield material. That's presently utilized just as a practice field. The backstop still needs quite a bit of work. I've reached out to Homestead Fence and Heath Junior to be able to come down and provide me with the materials to be able to do the work with. I can do the work myself, but I just need the proper materials for the backstop. So we are proceeding 2 steps forward, 3 steps back on the Dewey Field bathrooms. I had Carrie Fowler down there on Friday. We were hopeful that when we turn the water on, we'd have great results and be able to tell where all our leaks are and what we need to be able to do. As I understand, the last time it was used was over 12 years ago, and there was a freeze-up that occurred in the facility before they shut it. We're able to successfully shut it down, so that still remains a mystery because unbeknownst to myself and Carrie, there is a curbside shutoff outside the building, but I was not aware of that. I asked Heath from the road crew if there was one, just on a perchance, just asked him, and he said, oh yeah, there's one there. He couldn't remember exactly where it is, but Carrie and I were unable to find it. So we need to return to that. We hope to get, a good stroke of work done on that day, but we ended up just really wasting some time. So, once we get the water turned on, we will then, I'm actually meeting with Russ Hallett from the sewer department down at the facility tomorrow morning to look at the sewer pumps. That facility is also a sewer pump station. So it has to, or a lift station, whatever you want to call it. So there's two pumps, and they're undoubtedly both frozen and, not going to be able to be reutilized. He does have a couple used pumps that we are going to be able to, hopefully they're the right size, the right model and everything that we should be able to install to be able to get the sewer lift portion of it working again. Those sewer pumps, as I understand, are about $2,600 a piece. So everything about it is looking like it's going to be, there is going to be some expense to it. I will say that Russ has been very helpful. The road crew foreman has been helpful in terms of extending manpower in their roustabout position. Eric Sayers has been down there helping me chip, and so that part of it has been good. And we do have volunteers lined up to be able to reset our dugouts and rebuild our dugouts. It's just one day at a time, really. There's still a lot of labor remaining, and it's not necessarily labor that you can just use volunteers for. Some of it's kind of dangerous, resetting the dugouts and stuff like that, and very technical. So, but where there is room for volunteers to be able to work, we're using them. If somebody happens to buy the front of the village school, we had a couple volunteers use a cleaner on the front of the village school and removed all the black mold off of it, and it looks really good. And in terms of programming, we're moving ahead with baseball, softball, and like we mentioned last month, West Coast Swing. They have chosen and extended some dates forward, so that's about what I got.
Just a suggestion, John, for finding curb stops. If you know someone with a metal detector, they sometimes go a long way towards.
Yeah,
helping you find 'em.
Kerry had his metal detector, but we were way off. It doesn't make sense naturally. It wasn't in line with where it is on the interior of the building. He told me it's off to the right 8 feet, so we weren't really.
Recall where it is?
I did. I called him and he couldn't recall. So he was, helpful. I probably should have called him to begin with right off the bat, but I did call Rick from the facility and he just couldn't quite recall. And so hopefully we can get it back up on.
All right,
on
thank
track.
you, John. Any questions from the board?
Just want to thank you for the financials.
Yep.
Asked for.
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yeah, good work. Thanks for all the work you've done. The fields look great.
You're way ahead of where we were a few months ago, so
Don't go anywhere.
you can keep it going.
Don't go anywhere?
Yeah, it was when the board was done, I wanted to be able to address something.
Bob, did you have something?
Well-
Or are you good?
No, I think John, somebody spoke to John about, all I was wondering is why he was coming in every single meeting. I think once a quarter, once a month, maybe, every other meeting.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's.
we don't see all our other departments as much as we seen you,
Well,
them
let's.
put together. And I'm not, nothing personal.
I'm just doing what was directed, so
It was just off cycle.
Off cycle.
Yeah, we missed a meeting because he wasn't here, so we added it to the next one, so.
Oh, no, yeah, at the end of the last month. Right. If,
Anything
he
else?
won't
You can come to every meeting, I just,
yeah, I like to see
you're on
you,
you've
Bob.
been on the agenda for the last 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 meetings, so
Okay.
I just wonder what that was all about. That's
All right.
all.
Okay.
Why don't, John, why don't you and the town manager decide how often you need to come see us and then let us know?
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Again,
He's
nothing
not,
personal.
he's gonna say once a year.
You're not getting away yet. John, you're
I
not-
know him.
Meetings. Heath will tell you I really love meetings.
Yeah.
John, before you go, Mike has to,
So just, I want to, while you're up at the podium, there is, the roof still needs to be fixed down there at that bathroom facility. So that's going to take some skilled labor. And if there's volunteers that were skilled like that, that'd be even better. It's a great price. There's the playground, there's money. So I'm going to come back to you on the playground because there's money in the reserve just for that playground. $975 to be exact, to rehab that playground. And if we had volunteers that could clean it up and pressure wash it and that kind of stuff, the structure and stuff, that would be something that John would do. But we talked about it. It just looks like we could. There's area to improve there, I guess. So we could use that money to fix that structure, and maybe people will use it if it's actually fixed. And the plug, while you're there, was in the ARPA funds. I had made a recommendation to use some funding to fix our infrastructure, so that's something I want to hopefully keep on the radar until you tell me to stop beating that drum about using some of that money to fix all of our rec fields, not just Dewey Field, but and leave it there. But you know as well as I do, the time is starting to tick away at the obligation date. So, but that's on there, and I want to say while John was up there, I know he's used his own equipment down there, and he's putting in a lot of time, more than I want him to, in most cases, but he's done a great job, and he's really working well with the other departments to get this stuff done. So we're seeing progress, we're seeing results, and that's what happens when we actually have a person in charge of something. So,
Thank you,
Do you
John.
have an estimate on what it's going to cost to fix the comfort station?
Fix
The
the,
restrooms?
oh, no, we're really, once we get those pumps out, that'll probably give us a good idea. And then once we put the water to everything, we'll know what is not salvageable, what exactly the extent of the freeze was. If it's the actual bowls, toilet bowls and stuff like that, you're talking significantly more money than just replacing some gaskets.
I
So,
just wonder, is it worth it to fix it?
well, it's $75 a month for porta potties, per porta potty. So it doesn't take long to build up. And it just is, I had potential, someone interested in donating possibly to the facility down there. Long term, I'd like to be able to have the T-ball field moved to that side where the old riding arena was. So you'd have two fields with multiple games going on, possibly a tournament-like style. And with the way that building is set up, the front portion of the building, that's under the overhang in the front that used to have water fountain in it and stuff like that would make a perfect area for a concession stand. So if you had concessions there going on, you would need the water and the bathrooms, and you could be making money at any given games. I mean, especially if it's a weekend tournament or something like that.
I'd love to see that. I know it just has, the history of that building's been really bad.
Yeah,
Granted, there has not been a full-time rec director.
Yeah.
When I coached Little League, it was in the same shape it's in right now, and we spent a lot of money to fix the plumbing.
Yeah.
Whoever was in charge of locking it up, the coaches would forget. It would be unlocked for a weekend, you'd go down there.
Yeah.
People would go in there and make messes that you wouldn't want to clean up.
Yeah, I think that
It went on, and then we maintained it for a few years. And then after I was gone, whoever was supposed to winterize it didn't, froze up, we were right back in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I agree, it's way nicer than having two porta potties, but is it viable long-term? Or
Right.
do we spend 10 grand on it, 4 years later, we're in the same boat?
Well, I think that really the responsibility would lie with the rec director in terms of having a process in place for maintenance and seasonal, putting it to bed, stuff like that. Same thing that
Locked every night, that's the
same thing that I did as a responsibility out at the high school and in numerous facilities in the district. So, it's really about a process. And, I've told people this before. My first summer job as a kid, as a teenager, was opening and closing Dewey Field every night. It was a summer job that they gave to a kid. Jim Lamy hired me for the job. And I took over for my brother and just bike out in the morning, open it up, bike out at night, close it up. Whether or not it's that same format, but it's a priority. And I think if that facility, if you could envision it with 6 pickleball courts and lights and a facility and baseball fields, that would be a small investment in the overall picture. If it's just a building standalone with one field, probably wouldn't make much sense. But
As long as there's a plan to keep it maintained.
right, yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
So we're gonna move on. Appointments to I'm gonna mess this up, so. The Otter Creek Communications Union District.
Got it.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we appoint Leslie Caldwell,
Cadwell.
how you say it?
Cadwell.
Cadwell, as our Castleton representative. Want me
Might
to-
as well do the alternate.
Okay, and the alternate, Castleton alternate being Ted Molnar.
Before we go for a second, but the question I have is, how long is the term?
It's just
Do we know?
For 1 year.
Laura Black's on there. She's,
1 year?
yeah, you said 1 year, Laura?
Yes. The reappointments are required annually by Vermont statute.
So
So
why
we'll
don't
be
you,
back next year, about a week earlier.
so make it to expire, the last week, or the last Monday in April of 2024, or 25 rather.
So moved. Did you hear that?
Did you get that, Allison?
To expire the last week of April of 2025?
So I have a motion now. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion?
Can I ask, the only thing that is also required by statute is Otter Creek Communication Union District has to receive the appointment form signed by essentially the chair of the select board.
We can make that happen.
So if you can do that, that would be awesome. Our annual meeting is on Wednesday, so it would be terrific to have the appointments from Castleton.
I'm going to do it immediately after we call for a vote.
Fantastic, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got his hand up.
Oh,
Can you just tell us what this, I've never heard of this before, can you tell me what it is?
Leslie, would you answer that question, please?
Leslie answer, yeah.
Never heard of it before, so.
So I'm Leslie Cadwell. So the Communications Union District is hopefully gonna close the broadband gap in Castleton. So addresses that are not served by high-speed internet will be served through the Otter Creek Communications Union District. I guess, is that answering your question?
It was that last mile.
And,
Right up there, gotta get
thank
there.
you. And the district is made up of towns within Rutland County. So Castleton is a member town. There are 2 representatives, a primary and an alternate. I have some experience doing communications and utility regulation and that kind of thing. And I figured I might as well offer my
I just never heard of it before, so that's why I asked the question.
So if you need
Charlie's here
if
going,
anyone's
he said,
not
"What's that?"
served,
I don't know.
if anyone's not served, I am happy to be a point of contact, provide you with every information that you need, and I'll be providing the town with updates as the select board desires. How's that?
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All in
Leslie,
favor?
thank you so much for stepping forward.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I want to say thank the town manager for using Front Porch Forum so well to make that position known. I'm not sure I would have, other than my relationship with Laura, doing some work with the Communications Union District, know what's happening in the town, and I really appreciate your communication with residents.
Thank you, you're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Before I forget, anyone who has not signed the I'll call it the visitor log, at the attendee list, please do so before you leave.
And Laura, thanks so much for the work that your group has done. I know you've done a lot of the heavy lifting and made a tremendous amount of progress, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yes, we're really happy about the progress that's been made and being made. It's been an exciting year with all the construction that's going to happen this year.
So when those FIDIUM reps come to your door and knock, that's part of it, so.
So, okay, we're gonna move on.
Was it in the folder, was there?
I already signed it.
I didn't see it, okay.
Taken care of.
All right, thanks.
All right, moving on. Update to the power box on the pole at the town green. I'm gonna ask the town manager to speak to that first, because he went there today.
Well, I went there, Mr. Chairman, and Mary was there as well, and Dave is in the back. They explained to me what they wanted. I don't see any issue with it, but I don't know if you want me to explain it or you want Mary to explain it.
Well, Mary, can you give us the Reader's Digest version, and then we'll...
Mary McIntyre, current president of Castleton Lions Club. As many of you know, Castleton Lions Club for, I believe it's 46 years, have had the Castleton Lions Club annual auction on that green space. Just as you're facing the Federated Church, it's just to the right. And we have there is an electrical pole there with a box that we've owned and paid for. And it's got a 100 amp box in it. And our auction is only 2 nights long, maybe 3 if we have a rain date. And we blow breakers. So we know it's time to upgrade. So we've professionally looked into having it done. We consulted with David Gossier, so his name is misspelt on the agenda. It's Gossier, and he's a master electrician. And he came out and looked it all over, and we're going to put a 200 amp box in there, and off to the right or the left of it, depending on which way you're facing. From the road would be to the right of it. There'll be a platform built, with the box and plugins. And so we shouldn't have that electrical issue again of blowing amperage. This will not cost the town anything unless, of course, the town wanted to kick something in. But no, and it's not fully decided that the Lions Club is going to vote. We still have to vote on it because it is quite an expense. But in order to have good electricity, the ample amount of electricity that we need to run that auction every year, it's something we have to correct either with another 100-watt box or a 200-watt box. But it really, for the cost difference, it's not a lot. So Mike looked it over with us. We're really not encroaching on the town's property. It's a right-of-way. We tried to cover everything. David talked to zoning. We just want to be very upright with the town because the town's always kind to us, and don't want to start moving in there and doing stuff and people wondering what we're doing.
So what you need us to do, Mary, is stay out of your way and thank you for all you do for the town, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stay out of your way.
Pretty much.
We'll stay out of your way and thank you.
But for the town's for your own edification, that we did talk about the new sidewalks, making sure this wouldn't be a place where we'd have to tear it up again. So it's all doable. It's all just timing, and I think that I can work with them and there'd be no issues.
Excellent.
Okay, moving on. Coin drop requests. Someone care to make a motion?
Can we make a motion to do them all at once?
You can.
Can?
You can.
I would make a motion to accept the coin drop requests of the Friends of Castleton Parks and Recreation for Saturday, June 15th with a rain date of Saturday, June 27th. The Lions Club for Saturday, June 22nd with a rain date of Saturday, June 29th. the Castleton Fire Department for Saturday, September 21st, and the Castleton Community Center for Saturday, October 19th.
I'll second it, but with a correction. I believe on that first page, Rob, you said June 27th. My paperwork says July 27th.
I'm looking at the agenda right here.
Oh, you're going off the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going off their letter that they sent to us.
Yeah, we'll use a letter.
Use the letter?
Yeah, because it was probably just a,
So
So it's
amend your
supposed to
motion,
be,
that's probably a
supposed to be
typo.
July 27th?
I will amend it so that the Friends of Castleton Parks and Recreation will have their coin drop Saturday, June 15th with a rain date of July 27th.
I'll still second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike?
I just want to, for those that are here or listening, for those coin drops, there is a coin drop policy, and there's a sign package required and notification of the police department. So I'd ask that if you're not sure what it is, to please reach out to the town office, myself or Karen, and we'll get you a copy and make sure that you're pointed in the right direction to adhere to the policy.
And also our highway department has volunteered to provide cones.
Just a quick comment, and I should have said it before you guys voted, but two of those don't have rain dates. Is that gonna be a problem?
For them, it might be.
That's their day. They got one day.
Okay.
I mean, when we reach back out to them, I'll make a note and have Karen ask them if,
Just see if they have a
did
date.
they miss that or not.
Yeah.
We don't switch.
You're not sure.
Are there guidelines that regulate this as far as traffic control cones?
Yes, yeah, there's a town policy.
Well, the
Mark.
policy does, but Pete, that's why we asked them to meet with the police department before they do it, so that Pete can give them any rules of the road, kind of.
Yeah, our policy also limits the age of, we can't have
That was my
juveniles
next
out.
Yeah,
question.
age, where it is.
So it's all been, we went through this several years ago, and I think we have a good policy now.
Yeah, the policy, it should be on the back of it was attached.
Are they holding these all in the
Yep, I
same
missed
spot,
it.
Mike? That was one of my quick.
They have a, up from down by Sand Hill by the tags down to
Whatever
Village
they-
Green.
Okay.
So that's why they need to meet with Pete and
Okay.
make sure that everyone's in the right spot.
Okay.
Okay, for some reason, the bids, we're gonna have to share the bids we're gonna move on to the consideration of bids for line striping, crack sealing, and paving. And for some reason, the document I looked at when I was at home is not in my packet anymore, so I left it somewhere. So can you help me out, Bob?
Maybe. Which one are you doing first?
We're gonna do line striping first.
Okay, here is the line striping. All right. What's the town manager's recommendation? I mean,
Well, we got one bid. We received another one in the mail today, so I didn't even open it because it's past the deadline. But that 13 cents per linear foot that's on there, it's ranged anywhere from 9 cents to 12 cents. So over the last 4 years, so 13 cents isn't out of bounds, I guess. So I would recommend that you approve the one from K5 Corporation for 13 cents per linear foot.
You're familiar with this firm?
Oh, yeah, we use
Happy
them.
with their work?
Yeah, they're the ones that did the crosswalks and stuff too.
Okay.
Is there any warranty or lifespan that comes with this?
There isn't, especially because we always pick the water-based paint because it's the cheaper of the, and so we usually typically get a good year out of something if we're doing center lines or fog lines. Same with the crosswalks. Water-based paint is terrible for longevity, but it's almost, we're over doubling the price for the oil-based stuff, so. And there's no guarantees that that's gonna last any
The
longer.
oil-based doesn't have any warranty.
No.
Mr. Town Manager, it doesn't say how many linear feet they're gonna do. I mean, like the other ones have the roads and the miles and all that on them.
The bid packet's for 99,000 linear feet.
99,000 linear feet?
Yep.
Okay. Make a motion, we award the bid to K5 Corporation for 13 cents price per linear feet.
Second.
Moved and seconded for line striping. Any discussion? All in favor?
Discussion?
Oh, you have discussion?
I just want to point out that one of the things that can be detriment to the town or the negative to the town is if we don't go out there when they're doing this stuff. It's been hit or miss depending on who's here, but I know Jeff and I actually went out with the last group and stayed out with them the whole time to make sure that we got what we paid for. If you notice on South Street, they color outside the line sometimes, but they painted what was there. So instead of turning it so it was parallel with the road, some of them are a little cockeyed, but they painted exactly what it was, and there was no more thinking involved. But the first ones they did were they were having a lot of overspray issues with that water-based paint, so that's why some of them are a little wider than others too. But overall they did a good job. I mean, they're good to deal with and they're receptive. I had them in the village. I had them paint over the stuff they did the previous day because it rained, and I'm like, looks like crap. Do it over. So they did at no extra charge.
And they're the only ones that bid, so
Yeah,
there's that.
yeah. L&D bid, but they're come in today.
All right, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
When they're all done, you go out and sign off on it, make sure it's all done the way it's supposed to.
He did. We were out with them, so we knew what they did. I took one crew and Jeff took the other crew, and he at the end reconciled. And because there's some things that were on the bid packet that they didn't do, that we assessed that the beach didn't need to be repainted this year, so we took those out and we added a couple things. So we reconciled at the end, but we were out there with them.
So we all set now?
I'm all set now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Crack ceiling,
Want me to do that too?
please.
Mr.
I
Town
read it all.
Manager, you want to speak to this?
I read it all, but
Yeah, that's okay.
it's not,
That's okay.
everything's usually in order and it's just not here.
Do you want to speak to this at all, Mike, or?
I do, but I'm afraid to, because I don't remember what the previous year's was, and when I saw this seems like a lot. I don't believe, let me look at something real quick.
Was this the one bid we got on this too?
Yeah, correct. And that's typical for the crack ceiling.
Is that the same company that did it
Nikon.
last year?
What's that?
Is that the same firm that did it last year?
Yes, because Nikon, we used Nikon before, and
I know they did a good
it was,
job.
those were the black snakes were in the road.
Yeah, you were happy with the job that they did last year.
I did, I was. Let me look at the highway budget real quick here.
It did seem like a high number, but I was gonna ask you what was
We
budgeted.
budget $22,500.
So
And-
where is the rest of the money going to come from?
Which fiscal year is this in?
Okay, you do that then.
This, well, that's this bleeds over, so we could technically start in June and bleed over into July and use both years' monies.
Is that what you're going to do, man?
I have to, because these roads, if we don't crack seal these roads, they're gonna get worse and worse and worse. And if you saw the price of stuff, this is obviously more road than the back is the list of roads. That's more than we normally do.
Half this dollar amount is almost entirely East Hubbardton Road.
Have you driven East Hubbardton Road?
Oh, yes, I
It
have.
needs to be done.
Yes, oh, yeah, I'm not questioning that.
Well, the
I'm just-
price of this has doubled, but the price of paving has tripled.
Yeah, so,
Pretty much.
and it's all based on liquid asphalt prices.
And to not do this would be irresponsible.
It would,
In my opinion.
I drove the roads again, and we gotta keep up with this stuff, or else the roads are gonna get worse.
Do you agree with that, Heath? To not do this would be irresponsible?
That would be a foolish move.
That's what I thought.
Make a motion, we afford, we
approve.
We approve fresh coat asphalt for the roadway crack sealing for a total of $46,750, 9.5 miles total.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Same question, before they're done and leave, you go out and sign off on it, the work's all been done.
Yes, and actually, we'll be out with them.
Okay.
Because there's a lot to this one. Temperatures have to be right, water can't be in the cracks, but there's a lot of more stuff than just line painting in this one, so we will be out.
What was that?
9.5 miles.
So that's a little over a third. We have approximately 28 miles of paved road in town, is that
30
correct?
miles of paved road.
Oh, it's 30 now. I thought-
30.03 to be exact.
Okay, so that's not quite a third of our roads.
And exactly half that was 9.5 miles is East Hubbardton Road.
Which needs it.
Yep.
chunk on North Road's the same way.
Yeah.
They probably took up
So,
another big.
I'm gonna
Johnson
call the
Spooner's
question.
horrible.
We all set?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna move on. Rutland Regional Planning Commission.
You missed one.
We got one more, Mr. Coombs.
Oh,
Yeah.
paving. Oh, the big one. Thank you, Bob.
You want to speak to this,
Sure.
Mr. Town Manager?
So, this is for Blissville Road from the town line, Pulteney, Castleton Town Line to Route 4A. It's approximately 1.4 miles. There was three contractors that bid on it. It was Wilk Paving, Pike Industries, and Fuller Sand and Gravel. They all agreed that it doesn't need to be milled, which Jeff and I both agreed with that. So the price the contract that we be entering into does not include milling. So when we took the milling out, you see the very bottom, the total amounts. Wilt Paving was $177,686, and that was the lowest of the three bids. And I always want to look at the price per ton and the amount of tons. So if you look at the price per ton in place, Wilt Paving was $79.90, which was the lowest. And they all bid pretty much on the same amount of tons. On site, they agreed that was 2,150 tons, and Pikes came in a little lower on the tons. Not by a lot, but, so we take, in the handwork, they all was $250 per ton in place for the handwork. So I would recommend that the town.
There's a lot less tonnage in the handwork.
For, the total tonnage, for that Wilt Paving put in there, because they're saying that they can catch a lot of those, aprons, that's for the aprons. They can catch it with the machine rather than having to have a crew out there by hand, so, that's primarily the difference. So I would recommend that the board approve the contracting with Wilt Paving for Blissville Road this year, which also we're anticipating that we're gonna get the, Class 2 paving grant this year. We're number one on the list, so there's nothing besides the legislature going broke that, we won't get the money for that. So primarily, this is gonna get paid for by, the paving grant.
Ready?
I'm ready when you are.
I don't know if I am, but.
Well, somebody's gonna take a shot.
Yes, I'll take a shot at it. Make a motion to approve Wilt Paving to pave Blissville Road for a total sum of $177,686.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded for award the paving to Wilk.
Can I question it?
I'm asking for discussion now.
I don't know what milling is. I know we're not gonna do it, but what is milling?
Where the machine will grind away, a certain depth of the road, especially when you get the wheel tracks. But they're saying it's not bad enough where we have to mill it. We did South Street, we milled that one, because those wheel ruts were pretty deep. So,
Thank you.
Well, how many years ago, Mark, was Blissville Road stripped right down? Remember that? I remember it, but I don't remember how long ago it was.
I'm quite certain that it was 11 years ago.
It was stripped right down to dirt and started over.
it's getting pretty bad.
As far as-
They elevated it substantially. You know, the road was low and it carried a lot of water, and they elevated it a lot, which has helped it.
Which will also keep the wheel ruts from showing up.
I just had one question, Mike. What was the mileage on this? Because I don't see.
1.4. It was in the bid spec.
Oh, okay.
So they bid on it for the that distance, without the milling and with the milling. It's, just to clarify, it's a 3/4 inch average shim, is how they figure it, road width, and 1.25 inches of surface. So they mill, or not mill, they shim it, they fill in those wheel ruts, and then they'll put a surface coat over the top of it. So altogether, it's whatever that is, 2 inches.
The surface coat is 2 inches?
No, it's 1.25.
1.25.
And then
After they put the 3/4 inch.
the shim will be,
on there.
it's an average, because some places you're not gonna need it, and some places you're gonna need more, so
Gonna be a nominal 2 inches then.
it's compacted, 2 inches compacted.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Rutland County Mutual Works, mutual aid agreement, Public Works mutual aid agreement. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the annual agreement for the Rutland County Mutual Aid. Any discussion? I have one comment. This does work. Do you agree, Heath? Because sometimes we've helped other towns and sometimes other towns have helped us as recently as this year. Both ways this year, right? So,
Heath actually was down in Mount Holly when they had their flooding and did work down there too.
and then somebody came and helped us, but I don't recall who.
Fulton Fairhaven,
Fulton
both
Fairhaven.
this spring when the mud was everywhere.
Okay, so, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You sign that, Mr. Chairman?
I do, it's in here.
Okay.
So, Mike, you do the top line, I do the bottom line?
No, put mine away, hold on.
I'll make sure we get this right.
You should only have one place to sign, right?
I think this is you, Dick. It says duly.
By the constituent municipality, by, and
Okay,
you sign there.
wanted to make sure you weren't supposed to be there too. All right. Paperwork. Gotta have paperwork. All right, moving on. Fire Department bid to purchase a replacement for engine 6 for select board consideration. I would like to start with a motion, please.
What do we want to do here? Make a motion to, here. Oh, there we go. Make a motion to approve the purchase of a Lexus Fire Equipment Company Ford F-550 Crew Cab Mini Pumper with a 1,500 gallon per minute pump, rear suction, deck gun. I'm not really sure what some of this stuff is, but 3 SCBA equipped riding positions for a price of, that's the right price there, Dick?
Yes.
$471,655. Does not include any applicable taxes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, first off, I want to say that, first off, I want to thank the fire department and the truck committee for all the work they did on putting this together. It was a long road, and it took them a while to sell me, but I'm now sold on purchasing this piece of apparatus. What it will do is it will help fill the niche that was created when engine 2 was taken out of service. So between that, and I've always had the concern since engine 2 was taken out of service that the town only had one mainline pumper. And between the new ladder truck that we have coming sometime this winter, we hope, or this summer, and this truck that will give us the depth we need so that when we have a fire, we can move water and provide the people that are on the pointy end of the stick with what they need to take care of things. I could get into the details, but to answer your question, Bob, it's a 1,500 gallon a minute pump. And it's,
Wasn't it
rear's-
1250?
well, it's rated at 1250 because it has to be
Certified.
serviceable for 20 years, and sometimes they lose a little performance over time. So if we actually buy the truck and it's certified for 1250, but it's got it's in actuality will move 1,500 gallons a minute, So that's why that verbiage is there. And the SCBA's are self-contained breathing apparatus,
Okay.
the air packs.
Yep, I've heard of that.
So it'll be nice
For
to,
the ARPA money this year.
Yeah, yeah.
so when those packs are already in-house, we've already bought those packs
Okay.
to equip this truck. And, it's, I can't tell you what a nice feeling it is to be at a scene and have guys show up or people show up and climb out of a truck all dressed and ready to go. It's a really nice feeling, Mark, to not have people get out of the truck and have to wait for them to get their air packs on and get their irons and get their lights and their radios. Everything's right there and they get to come out and they're ready to go. So, I could get into the weeds here, but I'll open it up to the questions from the board first.
I spent quite a bit of time on this, just this week. You and I had some discussions about it. I like everything about it except the price tag, and that is what it is. I would commend the committee that worked on this. I think this truck is really well spec'd out, particularly for our community. Rural firefighting is such an enigma because you need a lot of things that aren't compatible. You know, you need a small maneuverable truck and you need 1,000 gallons of water. You can't have both. I talked with Heath about this today. I called Alexis today and went over some of the specs of this. I think it's really, really well laid out for our community. Without getting too far off in the weeds, the only thing that I would change is it's a 430 axle ratio. I don't think I still think that's too tall in my personal opinion, but it's not a deal breaker. I think it should be 488 or even lower. I mean, it's a lot of weight, and in our community, I mean, you have this smaller truck to get in and out of narrow driveways that are steep, and you're never going to drive it over 50 miles an hour. It shouldn't be. But that's my only thought. I guess it's fine either way, but I think if you run the numbers at 488, 2,100, the thing's still going to do over 65, and it's governed at 65. So it's all waste up at the top.
We can have that discussion with them.
When I talked to the salesman today after you called, he said that the chassis ain't ordered, so that's not, he said, I can't tell you for sure because I haven't asked that question from the manufacturer if you could go that low, but he said, I don't think it would be a problem.
You raise a good point, Mark. The farthest that truck's ever gonna go is what, West Rutland or Whitehall, maybe? That's about it, Benson? You know,
What would that do price-wise?
Shouldn't affect it.
Shouldn't change it.
It'll just have more power getting up the hills and stuff. Low end.
and, the other thing I'll make,
Oh, I had one more comment, if I could. Is there corrosion protection on this?
Same as steel truck.
The frame? I
The,
mean, it's heartbreaking to look at what happened with engine 2. That truck should have had another 20 years.
we had discussed with them guys about making sure they stay on top of getting it undercoated.
We're looking at Earls with that New Hampshire oil that's dripless, because nothing against Carreras, but if you go have it done at Carreras and put it in this building, it's, the floor is gonna be destroyed. So we gotta look at something that's dripless, and Mike had mentioned that the town mechanic maybe has got some stuff to try to start doing what's wool wax or something himself, so.
That all works good. Yeah, I mean, this should go, the truck you're replacing is 2019. This should go 25, maybe 30, if it doesn't have a corrosion issue. And my last comment is, I'm under the impression that you intend this to replace engine 6 and engine 2. So there won't be a
Engine 2
conversation next year about replacing engine 2 with another truck.
Engine 2 was already considered to be replaced with a new ladder truck. The deal was when that ladder truck that we've got coming was gonna replace engine 2 and our current ladder truck.
So
So,
this
no,
truck
we're
is
gonna
gonna
reduce
have-
the fleet.
This rounds out your fleet. This is it.
Yeah, no, it's,
Until engine 3 comes up with the
yeah,
replacement.
yeah. The
That's
replacement
10
schedule,
years.
they have a, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but what
I have, yeah.
is on our log for replacement.
So I think this would put you right in the pink for 10 years. Right? No new trucks for 10 years.
yeah, the ultimate plan is to reduce the fleet from 7 to 5 vehicles. And this will be the first step in that.
Yeah, I think they did a great job specking this truck out.
And if anyone wants to talk about money, did you see the sheet that Mike put together for us? He did deep dive into the financials. Bottom line is we can afford this and we can purchase this truck without borrowing any money. And by the time we need to replace or refurbish engine 3, we'll have the money in the bank to do that.
I mean, this truck's not gonna get any cheaper either in the next few years, so.
Oh, it's already
if you
almost doubled.
That's what I mean, it's gonna just get more and more and more as we go along,
What
so.
was it 2 years ago, Dan? Like 280 or something?
275, yeah. In 2021.
So any more discussion from the board?
Other than on the funding sources, is that supposed to be 25, 26, Mike? You got 24, 25, 24, 25. Is that
Yeah.
supposed to be?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Change it 25, 26?
Yeah, I looked at the
Over
available
2
dates.
fiscal
I didn't
years.
look at that. I looked at this.
Yeah.
The date the funding is available.
Yeah, yeah.
Any more discussion from the fire department or the public? Nothing? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
So get it done, chief.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Thanks for all your effort, by the way.
All the time that you donate to the community.
Okay, moving on. We have to receive the Unified Development Regulation from the Planning Commission for consideration. At this point, we are not going to act on this or approve it. That would be premature. However, what we are going to do is discuss and possibly set a date for a public hearing. Now, my understanding is we have to have one public hearing. Is that correct? Correct. Can that be combined with a select board meeting, or should that be a separate event?
We just have to warn the select board meeting early, that's all. Normally, we don't do it until the week of, but this has to be the 15 days or, so you can do it, we're just gonna warn the meeting earlier, that's all.
What's your recommendation?
Well, I think my recommendation was to try to get this out there to meet the next meeting date. But I'm not sure if the planning commission was prepared to do that. Is Liz still here? Yep. Frank is right there.
I don't see why we wouldn't be.
I think there was, we were told Allison was still working on some stuff, but
There's a couple of little, yes, but those are minor, very, very minor tweaks to edits. So I think we would be prepared for that. Yeah.
we gotta go back and I gotta count the days again. Because the next meeting got moved to the 29th.
Okay,
So
that's
it gave us a day or two to get this warned.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
The 29th,
Yeah.
which is a Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes, it's a Wednesday.
Okay, that's when you're shooting for?
Yeah, well, we've pretty much decided
You guys decided on it, right?
that that's the date it's gonna be, and I was gonna double check
Mine's
that
always
during the
off.
select board concerns to make sure that
It's a Wednesday though, I know.
Most of us could make
You
it.
stole the last meeting.
It was over in the basket.
I just lost it.
Well, I count the days out, but I think it's gonna make, by having the 29th, if I warn it tomorrow, it would,
You're good,
it would be good, yeah.
So the only changes in this document will be very minor,
Yes,
and I'm sure the town manager will make sure that we know what those are.
yes, yep. We will send you.
So we all need to do our homework and make sure we understand this before the next meeting.
You got an extra one? Don't give me that shit.
Okay, Mary Lee, do you have a comment?
Well, my comment is, I'd like to see the tweaks before we play the game.
That is what you have in your hand.
They're not tweaked yet,
Oh, those,
and they may be minor to them, but they might not be minor to me.
so how soon
you
will we be
or
able to see
someone
whatever minor changes are gonna be made?
Allison's on, so.
Yeah. I would defer to Allison on that, but I think very, very soon.
Allison, did you hear that? They're asking when the tweaks for that UDR might be in our hands, so to distribute.
I made the changes.
Okay.
There's a change to a table as to village commercial and residential setbacks, and a change to a paragraph within the planning commission duties of making changes to the regulations and how that procedure works.
So Allison, those are done now?
Yes,
Okay, so those can be provided to the town office tomorrow?
correct.
So when can you provide them to the board, the select board and the planning commission, Mike?
As soon as I have them, I'll spin them right around and get the meeting warned and out in social media and
So
all
you
this.
could warn the meeting tomorrow and make sure that we have any changes by Wednesday. Would that be adequate of this week?
With me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we are agreed that we're going to have the public meeting on the new UDR on the 29th, at the regular select board meeting on Wednesday, the 29th of May. Anything else on this at this point?
Could I just add one thing?
Can you come up to the podium and state your name and the whole 9 yards, please?
I'm Frank Johnson. I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. And notwithstanding that we have a couple of little tweaks going to this, we really worked for 3 years to land on this final product, and there was a lot involved. And with our commission, and quite honestly, and it's kind of sad to say also, we had Bob Franzoni involved in this. We had Jonas Rosenthal involved in this project, and Joe Bruno. Sadly, the team, it's been a wide team involved in, like I say, 3 years of work into this, and there's a lot to it. But it actually, what it's replacing, it's consolidating, 3 different separate regulation documents with, I think, a lot of efficiency in that. So anyway, I just wanted to say, we will have the final version to you, I believe, by Wednesday. Allison's got it done already. And, yeah, we're kind of proud of our work, so.
Well, thank you for all your
All
effort.
right.
I have only a slight idea of what it really takes to do that.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Thank you.
Charlie had a question.
Charlie?
I just had a question. I like what you said, sir, when you said more efficient.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that hopefully that we didn't steal no more property rights from people that we've already lost over the years. You know what I'm saying? No more restrictions?
I think that the changes are minor. I mean, parking has been one of the major things, parking requirements and changes. But it's largely just, it's efficiency and changing the definitions and adding things for sort of rooming houses. I mean, there's, I won't get into the weeds on it, Charlie.
That's what I was just
But
wondering.
there was a lot to go over.
Oh, yeah.
But
I was on the planning commission for 3 years
Okay.
ago, so I know all about it.
But, there's nothing, no big changes going on.
Thank you.
I am going to go through this, Charlie, with a fine-tooth comb, and if I see something I think you ought to know about, I'll make sure you
No,
do.
it's not. I just want to make sure. It's not just for me, it's for everybody.
Well, if I see something from a farmer, landowner point of view that I think is concerning, I'll definitely bring that up. Wait,
Once I have that
wait a
final.
minute, wait a minute.
Oh, I thought you were
Katie,
pointing at me.
go ahead.
From here.
Yeah, as long as you speak loudly.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment a question when it's warned, are the tweaks given to the public? Like, these are the changes?
I guess what I was gonna address you with is, once I have that version from Allison, I'll post it out with the select board agenda, so the public will be able to see it on the website.
Okay, and then my other comment was, I appreciate the fact that it's taken 3 years to come up with a document that's really thoughtful and considered, and we follow the planning commission meetings and kind of take in the process. But I just want to note that when the whole Sand Hill Road project happened, we really got into the weeds, and the purchase and sale agreement was signed in November of 2020.
Katie, we're not here to discuss that
No,
right
but I'm
now.
just making a comment that we had new zoning in February of 2021, in 3 months. I appreciate this process and this new document, but that prior document of February 2021 completely changed our zoning in 3 months.
And it did it under COVID.
In
When
COVID, we were all in lockdown.
When you couldn't even get on to the meetings.
And there were
Because it
no
also
meeting
made other
minutes.
changes on stealing property rights.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking,
Yeah, and that's why I totally appreciate your process.
Yeah,
It's been
definitely.
transparent. You have really gone through that document. It's been open meetings. It's been.
All right,
that's
Katie,
the
we're
only
gonna move
comment
on,
I'm gonna make.
okay? Anything more from the board on the UDR? All right, we're gonna move on to request to cost share legal fees from the Castleton Free Library. I'm gonna ask Nancy Mark to speak briefly about this.
Briefly, I will promise to do my best. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, putting this request on the agenda, and continue the select board. And I want to be sure that, especially new board members, know that you were very supportive in granting us a $100,000 ARPA fund request in order for us to repair major construction problems with the library that were really matters of deferred maintenance and a need for restoration of a beautiful old building. And I want to thank you for that. And just to add to that, this board and administration, I believe have been, I think I can say, have been, very diligent and dedicated and very responsible, so much so that we have also written another grant and are hoping to hear from the National Department of Libraries for another $300,000 so that we can make this a really large, more complete restoration project. But we will use that $100,000 to its very best in the meantime. So what I'm asking you for tonight, and on behalf of the library and the library board, is just for you to consider joining in an expense that was unexpected. It's compared to the $997,000 that this project is costing. $5,000 is not a lot, but it is. We have been counting every penny, working very hard, and this was not an anticipated expense. Just to give you a little bit of background, there are two major grants that we received for this project. One was the Vermont Community Development Program, and the other one was USDA. And the USDA grant, it was really the avenue for us to receive the U.S. congressional earmark from Senator Bernie Sanders. He granted us an earmark, but it turns out we needed to apply to USDA for that money. So that was $125,000. Both of these being federal agencies have represented unexpected, but things that we have conquered, I would say, challenges to our own volunteers who are the board members working very hard on this. So this $5,000, we feel, is fair to present to you as something that you might share in. This is a town building. The library board has not asked the town for any money towards this project, no taxes. We have written, but right now is pitching in and counting every dollar that we can. One of our funders is going to be, we applied for a tax credit, a Vermont state tax credit, and that took, it's a matter of finding a bank that will sell us a tax credit. We thankfully approached the Orwell Bank, and Brian Young has been very accommodating, and that bank is going to support this tax credit, which gives us 90% is the formula on $117,000, but when Brian called me to tell me that they were going to support this, he said, and you know what, this is a community project, this is a town library, we're going to give an extra 2%. So this is a fee that we were not expecting. It is because of these federal grants, and the fee is for something called the attorney's, the certificate from the attorney, saying that because this grant was written and has been, is going to the library, but through the town, we're not eligible as a library to apply for these grants, but we know that these other grants are available to town, and Mike has worked very hard with us to, take care of all the details and to kind of make this happen, help us make this happen. So it turns out that this, what the lawyer had to do, and been very thorough, and in no way can I in any way falter, but this opinion of counsel required an attorney, and little did we know, but going through every possible document, from state documents to local documents to the library documents, to determine that the library actually was eligible, that we were a valid recipient of these grants. Of course, this only came at the end after the grant was awarded. These grants were awarded, and so thank goodness we were able to prove that. And our lawyer was able to prove that. So I ask your consideration for sharing in this $5,000 amount. And I welcome any questions.
Well, what do you consider a share? Do you want us to pay it all? Do you want us to pay 10%? Something in between? What's your idea of a share?
Well, representing an organization like the library, I hesitate to, be shy as much as you possibly can. A half would be lovely. I know that you have not. I know that you don't have much money left, if any, in your legal fees account. But I'm thinking that perhaps, or suggesting that perhaps because this is a town building, because of how we have worked on this, and just the use of the library by the town, it is the town's library.
Okay, Nancy, I'm going to open this up to discussion from the board now. So, Mark, your thoughts?
Nancy, let me ask you, last calendar year, did the library consume all of their budget, or was there money returned to the town?
No, I think yes. We consumed all of the budget with some very designated carryover for these particular, not the accessibility grant, but towards the repairs that we know that we have, even to supplement the $100,000. We have some and Dick, I'm sorry, I don't want to say, I won't talk too much.
And has your budget?
I've been doing.
I think your budget has been level funded for a few years. Is that correct?
It went up by, Mike, help me with this, like 0.2% last year.
I think it was $5,000, went from 116 to 121, I believe.
Yeah, it was about 4%.
Oh, 4%.
When I first got on the board, it was $100K a year. Now it's a little over 120. Yeah, when I first got on the board, it was $100K, and then over the last 8-9 years, we've increased it to a little bit north of 120.
Yeah, last year was we were at 116 for a couple years, and then it went up to 121.
But you're right, Charlie. It was $100,000 forever.
Mike, if we were to entertain this, Do we have money available?
My estimate on the legal fees is that, if the library's asking for $2,800, if that's 50% or so of the thing, that we'd have the money in the legal fees. And I did talk to individual today, and I'm like, and I don't want this to sound derogatory, Nancy, because it's certainly the opposite, but sometimes I open my mouth and it doesn't sound like it did in my head, is that they're a pretty cheap date. And what I mean by that is all the work that they did into this project, and hundreds, I mean, almost $1 million for the town to pony up $2,800 seems pretty, deserving of what they're needing, so.
Would it be too late for us to give them a coin drop date? No, I'm just joking.
Are you all set, Mark?
I would like to say that I'm a really big fan of the Castleton Library. I don't know how many people use it. I don't think there's a library in the state of Vermont that could stand shoulder to shoulder with ours. For adult programs, for youth programs, and if you look at what they're doing today for the community, reading hours, craft hours, they put on a lot of things for the youth in the community, and I don't think anybody here would be surprised to know that America's youth are not reading on the same level that they should be. And I think that our library does a tremendous service to the community, and if there's any way that we can afford to do this, I think we should.
Okay, Mary Lee, thoughts?
I don't know.
Okay, Rob?
It's $2,800 if we got it. I mean, what'd you say, $1 million they put in? And we didn't have to help with that?
They got 100 from ARPA, that was it.
Well, then that 100 wasn't for the accessibility grant. The accessibility grant was just shy of $1 million, and they went out and did the legwork for all that. Bob, your thoughts?
Can you find the money? I'm in favor.
Then I don't need to say anything then. Do I have a motion from someone?
I would make a motion that we cost share 50%.
You can,
I was just wondering, like, when I was on the board and before myself, and I'm sure you guys did it too, we sold town lands, and a lot of that money went into a sinking fund for things like this. Do we still have that money available?
Not, there are reserve funds that are out there, and we have all the reserves listed, and there was a few things that were on there, Mr. Brown.
There's always around $60,000 to $100,000 that wasn't spoken for.
Yeah, it's not anymore, the list, on this list of stuff. There was some money that got used from sale of the weed, it was the weed harvesters and the buses and all that stuff went to buildings, but there was that there's some weed harvesting. It doesn't say why it was, where it came from, but there's still like $16,000 in there that.
That was a $100,000 grant we got for the state of Vermont.
Yeah. But there isn't anything in there that specifically that goes to the library or town lands, that's not already spelled out, I guess.
you can't use anything from a reserve account for something that's not, that reserve account is not for. I'm not saying it isn't.
There was some funds there that we separated out by a vote of the people to make sure that if we had anything like this to come up, we could use it for that.
All I'm saying, Charlie, is if it's in that reserve account for fire trucks or weed harvesting, we can't use it for something else without voter approval.
There was one line that was called capital improvements of town undesignated, and that's depleted.
Sorry.
That's depleted.
So, Bob, you were in the middle of making a motion.
I was?
Or somebody was. No, you were.
Mark
was.
started it out.
Go ahead, Mark. Finish your motion.
I would make a motion that we cost share 50% of the legal bill of the library that's payable to the Vandenberg Lofts, which would be 50% of $5,648.
I'll second.
Which is a figure of $2,824.
Is there any more discussion from the board? From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is she shocked?
I think she's frozen.
Manager's report.
You want
It's a little, I'm out here. I just want to say thank you.
You're most welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much for
Thank
the
you.
work that you
And-
do at the library.
And I hope you all come.
On the first.
No, and the whole board and administration have done over the years. I do want to just be sure that you got your invitations to the June 1st party opening the elevator. And I can't, you have to see this new addition and all that is with it. It's amazing. So please come, June 1st, 1 o'clock.
We'll be there.
Thank you.
And I was
Okay.
informed today that the paving of the parking lot and the walkway will be done before the June 1st opening. Perfect.
Yeah, I have a funeral,
good.
I have a funeral that day, but I'm hoping I can do both.
Thank you.
I can't stress enough,
Oh,
if you haven't
thank you very
been
much.
Oh, I
out to
have.
the library to see any of the programs they put on, you'd be amazed at how many folks show up and the quality of the programs they do.
My grandchildren really loved that story time one day when they were down for a weekend.
Extraordinary.
Oh, that's great. That's so
All right,
nice.
let's move on to manager's
Thank
report.
you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
You're welcome.
I don't know if that's COVID or not, so I'll just hide. Am I up, Mr. Chairman?
You're up.
All right, on page 1, bike and pedestrian grant Parsons Hills. I started a thought there and I put the dots and I never came back to it. So we had the pre-bid meeting on the 6th. We walked the entire ground. We had 2 contractors there, one from Middlebury and then Belden's. Everything was Champlain Construction, I think, if I recall the name of the company. We walked the whole length of that. We talked to Mr. Holden, because he does lose some space in front of that. He knows it's not us, it's the state he's got to deal with. And he just was concerned about not adding to his water problem on the front lawn. So we walked it all, and they're gonna be, they'll put their bids together, and this was pre-bid. And so we'll get their bids, we'll see what they come in at, and hopefully it's something that's palatable, and that project can begin this summer. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
We're gonna make sure that they don't add to his water problem,
Yeah, that's
because the sidewalk down through here created some water problems, so.
all I can do is be out there with the RE and say, this is what we want, and, the final product, when it rains, that's the telling tale. But yes, after we lived through those, Rob, and I really don't want to do that again.
I mean, I think every time it rains, we can see if you go to pull into O'Reilly's or whatever, that parking lot there, the water's that deep where it doesn't go over the sidewalk and into the drain anymore, so.
And we tried to resolve that, but it failed. That the neighbor didn't want the water, the state didn't want the water, and so Green Mountain Church of Christ got to keep the water.
I've got a long
Baptismal
list of
out
things we learned on that project, Rob. That's one of them.
We could just dig a bigger hole and have a swimming pool.
Doesn't work in a parking lot very well.
So I'm on page 2, the TAP grant for the stormwater mitigation salt and sand shed. That's, Fuss and O'Neill is starting to work on that now. One of the things that they've got to put together is the stormwater portion of that, the mitigation on that 3 acres of impervious surface that the town property's on. We got hit by the state on that one, that permit.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, but that was part of the scoping study and the grant. And then they'll be working with me, and Jeff will be involved as well, about what we can do. Because cost, I've talked to the board about this. I just think it's really, like, not in the realm of, it's like more in the realm of insanity that it's $800,000.
Did you get a quote yet on just doing it? You had talked about maybe not using the grant?
Right, we've solicited one with a company called Greystone, Graybar. We're waiting to hear back from them. They seem to be the kind of the company that gets used a lot in this New England area. And we're also going to Brandon on this Wednesday to meet with Dave Atherton, the town manager. They did one, Pittsford did and Brandon did, and they went on their own. So he's gonna walk the dog with me on how.
I mean, Orwell just put up a building too, and there's no way that cost $850,000.
So that, we're working with some locals to see how they went about it, because they applied for the grant, Fairhaven applied for the grant. It just got too expensive and people are starting to do stuff on their own.
Mhm.
So, That's how, we're gonna go talk to them on Wednesday and see what they did. And look at what they did. On page 3, it just said I encourage the board to keep that 160 in there, because if we're gonna do it on our own, we're gonna need some money to do that
So we need a course of action this year so we can make that decision.
before December 31st at least. On the bottom of page 3, the Highway Safety Improvement Grant, I did receive the fully executed grant on that. And basically, it's replacing signs and signposts on South Street and North Road to become compliant with the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And besides that, we have a lot of old signs and stuff that need to be replaced anyway. On page 4, Transfer Station, I think I forwarded the board members a copy of the letter and the packet that I got a letter back, or an email back from DEC, A&R, saying thank you for serious attention and quick resolve to the alleged violations, and they're gonna close it out as voluntary compliance. And Jacob, up at the transfer station, they moved the bin, so it's the opening's facing towards the operations building, so that they can see it now, and things can't get hidden up there. And they got all the signs and stuff up they were supposed to, so. And it's not they didn't have it in the first place, they didn't stick to the box and they fell on the floor. So they wrote us up with a piece of paper laying on the floor that should have been stuck to the box, but it was right there. So, we're all set now, though. We'll talk about union stuff later. I'm on page 6, middle of the page, number 3, wastewater collection system repair. You guys signed that, so we're good there. I was able to successfully, I guess, reduce the bill by $2,000. They bought into that.
Nice work.
So saved 2,000 anyway. Paving, we already talked about that. I'm on page 8. Equipment, down towards the bottom. Grader, the grader's working, and the invoices from Milton Cat were processed. It's not leaking. There's 2 trucks placed out of service, locked out, tagged out, and there's the backhoe, locked out, tagged out for parking brake not working. They were supposed to be there on Friday to diagnose it and work on it, and they didn't show up, and they were supposed to be there today, and by late day, they weren't there. I'm not sure if they ever showed up, but.
That's the new backhoe?
The new one,
Is
yeah.
that gonna be warranty?
No. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but,
The 2 dump trucks, are we fixing those in-house or do they go out?
Evan's gonna try fixing those. Those are brake cans. He should be able to do that in-house.
Easy enough.
And now I'm on top of page 9, and highlighted. This is in reference to vehicle replacement. But just to reiterate, there's a meeting on June 3rd at 1800 at 6 p.m. To discuss vehicle replacements and paving funding shortfalls. We've talked about rec stuff in Dewey Field, so we can go past that one. T-ball, Hydeville. So now I've forwarded, yep,
On the June 3rd,
yep,
was it 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock that we were going to meet?
6 p.m.
We agreed to 6.
Okay, I just want to make sure I put it in at the right time.
Yep, and that was
Be good if
warned
you were
already,
here.
so we got it out there early enough.
Our first choice would be for you to be here.
All set, Marilee?
Yep.
So I'm on page 13, towards the bottom, highway department, highway garage. I asked for a status on the MERP assessment, they did of the garage and the village school, and they said they probably won't be completed until the end of May, and we won't likely hear anything until sometime in June.
What was that we got sent then?
That was the Brightly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was their assessments of the town infrastructure.
Okay.
This was a grant for energy
Okay.
efficiency and stuff. It's a $500,000 no match grant, for upgrades to key facilities.
Okay.
I'm on page 14, town office. I spoke to Aaron King last week about making repairs to the two front doors into the foyer of the town office. Excuse me. He did say that there's a drying time on this one, so we have to figure out how to. The doors can't be shut, and so we're talking about how to chain up the inside door so people can't get inside the building. But he said he has to have the doors can't be closed all the way. So, but if the doors are starting to get really faded and that laminate's going to deteriorate even worse, and then it's going to cost more to either replace them than fix them. But he does that kind of work. So he came highly recommended, and he's going to stop by and look at them and let me know what his quote would be for that, to do that.
There's a chunk of wood missing on one of those doors on the bottom.
Yep.
And if he needs either that species, which is Sapali,
Yep.
or help doing that repair, I'll be happy to help him do that at no cost. Just
Let him know.
Just let him know that if he needs a hand with that, I'll help him fix it.
Okay, thank you.
Is it, do you have experience?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, I can glue a piece of wood into a door and have it not look horrible.
He's that guy at the party where you can put a blindfold on, he smells a piece of wood. It's oak.
Some woods do have an odor, not all of them.
Why couldn't you remove the doors and put some used doors in there and fix it off-site? Why wouldn't you do that instead of propping them open and having to chain the inside doors?
I'd have to find doors that fit in there.
Well,
Those are really specialty doors.
Okay.
What I did for the library was I made a whole new temporary piece that I put in there.
Yeah.
And took those two doors to my shop, but they were gone out of there for, what, a month? 6 weeks? I forget. It was a while.
Yeah, because this is gonna have to be,
Too long.
this is gonna have to be like multiple coats on this thing, so it's not one time.
Yeah, if he's using a good exterior finish, it's usually at least 3 coats, and it's
Yeah.
usually 24 hours per coat drying time.
Yeah. And it can't be done when it's rainy and that kind of
Yeah.
crap, so.
You gotta hold your mouth right and stand on one leg.
I will make sure that the building is secure, at least by that, Bob. Let's see, meeting, traffic ordinance. So I'm on page 15. Traffic ordinance. Is Pete still here? So Pete's back there. So I had asked Pete to work with Karen to look at what we had and get that updated. And, it was going to be so laborious or tedious or whatever adjective you want to describe. So Pete was out there and they looked and they found one. Rutland Town has a pretty good traffic ordinance that they looked at. So we're probably going to pirate. They're still going to look at it and make sure it fits our needs, and the tables with the roads and the highway numbers and stuff like that are all correct. This, I think a traffic ordinance was 1978 or something like that. Yeah, so it's time to come into today's current statutes and all those type of things. So they're working on that. It'll come to the select board at some point in the near future for your consideration. I'm still on page 15, number 10, emergency management. One of the things that I asked Chief Mantella to do was get a hold of Vermont Division of Fire Safety and the Legion to get that place inspected for an overnight facility.
It's been done
When was it done?
last week.
Okay. I didn't know that. Did you know that? I didn't know it. Well, look at that. Thank you, Mary Lee.
Also, you might want to put, John Tester was the manager there, is now Liz Burt, B-U-R-T. Elizabeth,
How do you spell her last name?
B-U-R-T.
Oh, Bert, okay.
She lives on Depot Terrace, right? Yeah. So, we'll follow up with them. Pete, if you could follow up with GJ Garrow over there, make sure that we're good. Because when we stood it up for that one night that we had to shelter, he immediately called me and said, that place hasn't been inspected. I'm like, I do now. But
Not only has it been inspected, also the generator, which wasn't up to par, has been fixed.
yeah, they serviced it, just not recently. The Brookfield did.
Yep, I just paid for it, so I know it's done.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again. you're at least you're full of good news. That's always a pleasant thing. And then the training, I'd spoken to Tyga Christie about getting more training for Red Cross volunteers, or I'm sorry, shelter volunteers, and be trained by the Red Cross. And it's always seems to be, it's like not enough time, not enough people, and maybe in the fall. I'm at the bottom of page 15, facilities and equipment. Files Brothers installed the 2 new propane tanks and connected them to the emergency standby generator at the highway garage, and Kerry Fowler tested them on the 9th, and they were working. And on page 16, the top, our LEM, our local emergency management plan was approved by Vermont Emergency Management, so we're good for another year. I'm at the bottom, 6 Nance fire truck, we already talked about that. I'm on page 18, passive scholarship. We now have corrected the deficiencies to allow us to, for full participation in the passive grant. That's a $5,000 grant through Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns passive for safety items. And usually the PD will buy body cams, and the highway garage will buy sign packages, and it's all PPE or some safety related to protect our employees. Park and Ride, Doc Dirksen said that he will work on the Park and Ride and the town office again this year. I don't know if you've been by the Park and Ride, but the flowers, the tulips and stuff they planted came up. So it's just going to get better each year as they work through that. But I will say the sign at the town office, I still need to get the post to read and put the sign back up at the town office.
He's also going to do the flowers in front of the village school.
And also, he's going to do flowers in front of the village school. So thank you, Doc Dirksen, retired.
Thank you, sir.
I'm at the bottom of page 18, the 5 parcels of land. While we were up in the pit with Hunter Excavating, they happened to bring up that they also do select cutting and logging, which kind of jogged my memory that to address the select board about that close to that 7 acre parcel and the one next to it across from Crystal Beach, to have a logger look at that and see if it's ready for some harvesting of timber off that. It's been a while. So, but I just want to reach out to, I'll get a hold of a state forester and have them look. And I know that there was talk about recreation in that area as well. Kind of keep that in mind as well as we look at.
Are you talking the Crystal Heights one? The 2 properties up on Crystal Heights?
No, Crystal Meadows.
Yeah, across, right?
So right across from Crystal Beach up there by, off of Rosewood Terrace and North Road. There's a 57 acre parcel and another like 6 acre parcel up there. It's called, if you look at the map, it's called Castleton State, or Castleton Forest, or Town Forest. So, if it's just lumber that's just sitting there and falls down and rots and we're not gonna make any money on it, and we can clean up the place, that's what I'm looking at, to come back to
The
the
reason
select
why
board.
we're not looking into selling it?
I've asked, it's been on this for quite a while, that does the select board want to sell it? And they want, when Jim was the chairman, they asked that it be appraised. And I had a cost to have Sergeant's appraisal do it, and he wanted our assessor to do it. And she basically said, I can give you the tax value of it, but I can't tell you what the value of that land is. So if we really want an assessment, we should hire someone to do it.
Now, how do you access that through a right of way? I think looking at the tax map, we didn't own any property on any road or.
You come off, if you go up Rosewood,
Yeah.
you can, but if you come off 30, you have to go across private property.
But we do have a right-of-way up off Rosewood, right?
Right past Mark Corsel's house, right?
Well, somebody
Instead of
just
turning
put,
towards
somebody
Mark,
just
go
put a
straight-
house.
Straight, yep.
Somebody just put a house up there
Yep.
on the left.
Yep. Just because when they came to me about their driveway, it's like they know that they're abutting town property.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 parcels at the top of Crystal Heights that go from there over to
Pencil Mill.
Pencil Mill Road. So if the town ever wanted to sell them, then, you know, they're there. If sewer goes up Crystal Heights, it might make at least one of those parcels at the top of the hill a little more valuable, but I'm at least gonna get the forester to see if I can get somebody to come in there and look at it.
Certainly not opposed to responsible forest management.
I think that's tough to come in off of Rosewood Lane, though. I think that's like
It's
straight
steep.
up.
Yeah, it's steep. But the skidder will make it up there. But, all right, barring your questions, that's what I have.
Anybody have questions for the town manager?
No, because his time is up.
It is.
Your time is
I was
up.
watching.
Yeah, I'm watching too.
So am I.
Okay.
So if the board has no questions for the town manager, we're gonna move on. Purchase orders.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order 052146 to Southworth Milton for the sum of $2,940.43.
I'll second it.
That was grader repairs. Any discussion?
Yeah, is that, I guess we determined it wasn't something they did when they, no, okay. Since they sent us a bill on it.
It's a 30-year-old machine, though.
I know, but they worked on that area,
Agreed.
you know?
Any more discussion? You all set, Bob?
Yeah, I'm all set.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You want me to do the warrants too, Dick?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant number 0513A for $7,956. Warrant number 0513R for $3,335. Warrant number 0509 for $39,134.76. Warrant number 0513 for the sum of $109,467.67. Warrant number 0425P for the sum of $18,863.30. Warrant number 0502P for the sum of $19,166.96. And warrant number 0509P for the sum of $19,315.55.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the warrants. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a comment, Mike, on the two-page warrants. Could you have them staple it together, please?
Yep.
I hate to lose a page. What's a two-page warrant, Bob?
Does it require,
Yeah, it's,
doesn't?
that's all one warrant.
Just the one, okay.
It's all one warrant,
All right.
but it's multi-page.
Okay.
And he usually staples them together.
Yeah.
Maybe this one's bigger letter. You can see it better.
Is it getting hotter in here, or is it just me?
It's hot.
It's fairly
It's
warm.
not cooler.
Jesus.
Well, the heat pumps off, but there's a lot of human beings in here, so it's not cold out.
Is that one of those heat pumps that doesn't air condition?
No, it's fine, Liz. We're, unless somebody, do you want the AC on?
It's malfunctioning.
Can't afford it.
You'll talk faster if it's not.
Oh, if we're gonna be here for a couple more hours, we might
Stop
as
it.
well.
What did I tell you about that?
We're on schedule tonight. We're gonna try to stay that way.
We already had a talk with you about that. Yeah, we're doing good.
In spite of ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
brand is that? That's not Mitsubishi, that's something else.
The lighting's really, really bad on the monitor.
Flashing.
It's definitely easier to read this one though than the other one.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like when they have, oh, this has got the comments on it. That's probably the difference when they change stuff.
The finished copy plus the, I was just looking at first and why do I have two?
Oh, they go that way? Okay.
Yep.
One to show you the changes, and then one that's actually done.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully it is done. Can I borrow a paper clip?
Absolutely.
I had to give one to the,
Take them both.
I only need one.
Okay.
I could probably find one in here I don't need. I tend to weed them out when I'm going through my packet at the
You're
table.
faster because you scribble. 100 years from now, they're going to know I did it, but they're not going to know you did it.
That's fine.
100 years from now, no one will care. Hand me the ones you got, Rob, I'll count them off for you.
I'm glad she's giving him crap instead of me.
If you were sitting here, it'd be you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't sit there anymore.
That's why you moved. Actually, the truth of it is, that's why I moved you.
You afraid? Yeah, a little bit.
2 left. 1 left.
If I didn't sign it like that, nobody would believe it's my signature
We'll
at
have
this
all,
point in
we
life.
have all 7, okay. So we're going to move on to select board comments. Mr. Brown, do you have any comments or concerns?
I have one comment that I want to make. I went to the community center for coffee hour last Friday. Nice group of people. Everybody's really interested in what's happening in the town. The only question that I got from a couple people, concern, was dead trees on the side of the East Hubbardton Road. And I didn't have an answer for that, but I said I would bring that to the board. There were a lot of concerns that when the wind was high, many branches broke, and there were several trees that looked like they might fall and hit a car.
Sounds like a job for the tree warden to investigate. Do you agree, Mike?
It's kind of
The highway?
outside of his thing, but I'll have Jeff look at it.
Please do.
Yeah.
Let us know what you find out.
I take it that wasn't one of the roads that we hired the tree companies to trim up?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but if it is, they haven't been out there yet anyway, so.
Okay, I was gonna ask you what they've done. and what
They started there on Griffin Road, did some stuff on Griffin, but.
Okay.
So it's possible it's handled, Mark, but we don't know that yet. If not, it should be. Mary Lee?
Fine.
Rob?
Have we heard anything from the engineer on East Crystal Haven?
I solicited as of late as this afternoon, updates for East Crystal Haven, no.
Okay.
You talk about Hillary and that group?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
Didn't they say that they would?
He said
hopefully-
he said 2 weeks, but that was one of those.
When I talked to the engineer, I can't recall his name now.
Yeah.
He told me by the end of May.
Okay.
Which was not 2 weeks from when we were there. But that was a private conversation. He was probably just being realistic. Bob?
This is a question for the police chief. Have you had a lot of complaints? I guess I better back up here. Have they started the music back up at the Bombazine Inn?
No,
They haven't.
no, I think they're getting prepped up for Memorial Day weekend. Still gotta talk to them. I did meet with the resident that initiated this whole thing last year.
Okay.
Brought him in, showed him it's something that I've gotta do, and I've also gotta talk to the lodge.
So that kind of negates my second question, because I had another citizen saying this one citizen was calling you every time, calling the police department every time that the music came on. The music hasn't even started, so that's not a, it's not a.
Nothing, it's been quiet.
Okay.
Once they start, it'll.
So I'm not really sure what they were talking about. This is a touchy subject, this next thing I'm gonna brought up, but I brought it up to the health officer probably a year ago. I wanna know if 556 ever got signed off by the state of Vermont in regards to our mold. I think I've.
You asked me about that, and I haven't
did.
gone down and talked to John yet about it.
Okay, so John Raylan is the one we need to talk to?
I don't know who actually, I mean, the Historical Society, and I don't know really who's gonna be the one to talk to. Probably after my conversation with you, it's the person we talked about, is probably not it. So,
Okay. I know I approached another person, I don't wanna start using names, but it was like, I
What
shot
was
the
that
mother
about?
The mold at 556
Yeah.
Main Street. I wanna see something from the state where they signed off on it. Other words, we're starting to use that building. We had our elementary school kids in there like a couple, 3 years ago. If the state hasn't signed off on it, the mold's still there. There's
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, we shouldn't be in
It
it.
seems to be like an act of Congress to get this piece of paper from the state.
At where?
At 556.
The old town office.
The old town office. They call it the Buell Block.
Buell Block, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's all I wanna see.
The
is what
Historical Society owns that now?
They
Or
do, they do.
So the first first thing I would say that we need to do is find out who to contact. So can you find that out, Mike?
Yeah, I made a note. I'm gonna actually talk to Jim too, because he knows who the contacts are for specific things.
He gave me John Raylan's name and I never
I'm
reached
talking
out
about
to
the
John.
state, if there was a mold mitigation.
That's all I'm looking for.
So if you talk to the health officer and then get back to me and I'll get back to Bob and we'll find out
Thank you.
who's doing what and who should do what, et cetera. First thing we need to do is find out who to talk to.
Will do.
I'm all set. You all set, Bob?
Yeah, you're not gonna leave, are you, Pete?
Correct, no, I'll be here.
Okay.
You call a special one?
Yeah, I went into executive session with the police chief.
All right, I'm all set. Do we have any items we need to follow up on or any action items that we haven't, that we are gonna forget about if we don't talk about it?
Letter to the environmental court.
Mark's on it?
He's got that written down.
Mark
We
and
had
Mike
that
are on it.
motion, and Mike and I are gonna discuss it tomorrow.
Then I will entertain a executive session for, let's go with personnel first. Go ahead, Bob.
So moved to include the town manager
And the police chief?
and the police chief.
Is that what you need?
Yes?
Second?
That's been moved and seconded to go into executive session at 8:12 or
9/12.
9:12. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.